Hello, my name is Kellee Gilmore and I'm a Master's Social Work student at the University of Texas at Arlington. Today I will be discussing a policy that was implemented to help reduce delay times for children of minority experiencing adoption and foster placement. Dating back to the 1900s, there were high numbers of African American children placed in child welfare services and foster care. Around the Civil Rights Movement, organizations were formed to help ensure adoption for African American children, which included transracial placements. Within 2 years from 1968 to 1970, transracial placements for African American children significantly increased from 733 to 2,284. As these numbers continue to increase, many child welfare professionals for same-race placements argue that transracial placements were not the best interest for African American children. The arguments around transracial placements for children were linked to the ideas that because children were living in white neighborhoods and going to predominant white schools, these children were experiencing self-esteem problems and ethnic and racial identity issues. Because of the alarming issues, in the early 1970s, the NABSW, National Association of Black Social Workers, sought for policies that aimed for foster placement and adoption of the same race. NASBW argued that placing African American children with white families hindered African American children the abilities to connect to their heritage. Soon after, the NASBW created a model for same-race adoption and foster placements, including cultural sensitive screenings. As the controversial arguments about transracial placements for foster care and adoption continued, by 1974, the numbers for transracial placements of African American children in white homes drastically dropped. African American children experienced longer delays before being placed with a foster family or adopted due to caseworkers' avoidance of placing African American children with transracial families. In addition, 60% of minorities waited for permanent placements in foster care and being adopted. It wasn't until 1994 when President Clinton signed a law to help reduce the delays of minorities in child welfare services. Multi-Ethnic Placement Act was a policy created to help eliminate other policies that favored same-race placement. The purpose of the policy was to prevent discrimination for the placement of children in foster care and adoption due to the basis of color, race, or national origin, to decrease adoption waiting time for children, and to identify foster and adoption families that best fit the needs for children. To ensure the purpose of the policy was met, agencies receiving federal funds for foster care or adoption placements were prohibited from denying foster care or adoption placements for children solely due to their race, color, or national origin. So, what are some recommendations? As adoption and foster placement continues today, there are still arguments surrounding transracial placement of children and families. Overall, child welfare services continue to help children who are experiencing abuse and neglect by placing the children back with their parents or with other kinship. Unfortunately, when these circumstances cannot happen, the background of the child, foster parent, and adoptive family history is very important when considering the children placements, regardless of race, origin, or ethnicity. Yet, if a child is placed in foster care or with an adoptive family of a different race, origin, and ethnicity, it is important to help the child understand their cultural background and heritage. More research is needed to analyze the potential benefits and threats to children placed in transracial homes and same-race homes. As research continues, this will allow social workers, child welfare services, adoption, and foster care organizations to ensure all children are being placed in homes related to children's needs. What are your thoughts? Comment below.